Hello student, good morning. In the biochemistry and clinical pathology, today we are going to discuss about the basic concepts or the introduction of the biochemistry, why we need biochemistry. There are certain objectives behind the biochemistry basic concepts. In that, first we go through a basic unit of the human body that will be from a cell structure to the function of the cell. There are certain objectives. What the biochemistry is and what is the principle behind it. Secondly, know the components of a cell and its major types of biomolecules and understand how the role of cell organization and the different type of chemical reactions involved in maintaining high degree of the internal order. Biochemistry is application of chemistry to study the biological process at the cellular and molecular level. The biochemistry is a distinct discipline around beginning at the 20th century when the scientists combined chemistry, physiology and biology to investigate the chemical or the chemistry of the living system behind. In the study of biochemistry, we go through the structure and behavior of the complex molecule found in the biological material, and in biochemistry, what are the ways these molecules interact to form cell, tissue, and the whole organism. The principle behind the biochemistry cell is a basic unit of the human body, means a basic structural unit of the living organism. Highly organized and constant source of energy is required to maintain the ordered state. In the living process, these contain number of chemical reactions which will regulate or integration these reactions required to maintain life. The example for the important reaction are like glycolysis found in almost all organisms. All organisms use the same type of molecule like aldehyde, protein, lipids, and nucleic acid. The principle of biochemistry, like it gives the instruction for growth, reproduction, and development for organism to enclosed in their DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Now we see cells. These are the basic building block of the life and smallest living unit of an organism. The growth, reproduce, use of energy, response to their environment. These cells are cannot be seen with the naked eye. A cell or maybe entire organism or one of billion of cells that make up the organism, the basis of type and cell. The type of cells are, they are broadly two types. These are called prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In case of prokaryote cells, these include the bacteria, but these are lack of nucleus or a membrane bound structures called organelles. In case of eukaryotes cell, they include most other cells have a nucleus and membrane bound organelle like plant, fungi and animals. These are the example of eukaryote cell. As we see the prokaryotic cell structure, the nucleate region contains the DNA, means a cell membrane or a cell wall contain ribosome having no membrane to make protein in their cytoplasm. These cells contain three basic structures. These are called nucleus, cell membrane, cytoplasm with their components. In case of eukaryotic cell structure, there are two types like animal cell or a plant cell structure. Certain biomembranes and organelles which are present in the cell, in that we study one by one. First is called mitochondria. Mitochondria surrounded by a double membrane with series of folds that is called cristae. The main function of mitochondria for the energy production through metabolism, it contains its own DNA and believed to have origination as a captured bacterium. Plasma membrane, that is made up of a lipid protein carbohydrate complex, provide a barrier containing transport and signal system. Nucleus. Nucleus is a double membrane surrounding the chromosome and the nucleus. The ports allow specific communication with the cytoplasm. The nucleus is a site for the synthesis of RNA making up the ribosome. Chloroplast, or we call as plastids, they are surrounded by double membrane containing a stacked thyroid membrane. These are responsible for photosynthesis, that trapping of the light energy for synthesis of sugars. It contains DNA and mitochondria like, which is originated as a captured bacterium. The another content is called endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is a network of interconnected membranes forming channels with the cell or within the cell. These are covered by ribosome, which will make as a rough or a smooth, which are in a process of synthesizing protein for the secretion or localization in the membrane. Ribosome. Ribosomes are protein and RNA complex responsible for protein synthesis. On the other hand of a smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that is a network of interconnected membrane forming the channel within the cell. This at this site it is a site for synthesis and metabolism of the lipid. It also contains enzyme which helps to detoxify chemical including drug and pesticides. Another part is a Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus are a series of stacked membrane vesicles. Vesicles are also called small membrane surrounded band. Carry the materials from the reticulum to the Golgi apparatus. Vesicles move between the stack while the proteins are processed to a mature form. Another part is called lysosome. Lysosomes are a membrane bound organelle that is responsible for degrading proteins and membrane in the cell. Lysosomes are helped to degrade material ingested by the cell. Another part we have vacuole membrane. This is surrounded by bag that contain water and storage material in the plant. The cell wall. Plant cells have a rigid cell wall in addition to other cell membrane. Microbodies, they are produced and degrade hydrogen peroxide, a toxic compound that can produce during the metabolism. Cytoplasma. Cytoplasma enclosed by plasma membrane, liquid portion called cytosol, and cytoplasma a house, the membranous organelle, means certain other component of the cell which are be ingested or emerged or present in the cytoplasma. Cytoskeleton, arrays of protein filament in the cytosol give the cell shape and provide the basis movement of the content. These are examples for those are microtubule and microfilaments. Certain biomolecules are there in the cell structure like cell, the building block of tissue, means the tissue are made up from the cells. In other words, these cells build the block of tissue, like molecules are building block of cell. In case of animal and plant cell, they contain approximately 10,000 kind of the molecule or biomolecule. Water constitutes 40 to 95% of the cell content by weight. Ions like sodium, potassium and calcium may account for 1%. Almost all other kind of biomolecules are organic like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur. They are infinite variety of the molecule contain carbon. Most of the biomolecules considered to be derived from hydrocarbon. The chemical properties of the organic biomolecule determined by their functional group. Most biomolecules have one or more than one. As we see the structure to a molecule form means the cell and its component like it will be formed supramolecular complex. Then it creates the macromolecule and monomeric unit. So supramolecular complex having chromatin, then having DNA or nucleolide, they will further degraded as a protein and amino acid. Then cell mal, it will be a cellulose or sugars are in that case. Means cell and its component. For first one we have a plasma protein, then it form the protein, then it lead to amino acid. On the other hand, we have cell wall lead to form cellulose, then break down into the sugars. There are certain major class of biomolecules as we see in the supramolecular complex. The first one we have amino acid. Amino acids are the block of protein. They contain amino group, carboxylic group, a functional group which will show the behavior property of the particular amino acid. The side chain determines chemical property of the amino acid. It also determines the how protein fold and its biological function in individual amino acid or in protein connected by the peptide bond. The function of that biomolecule, they will transport protein, structure protein, enzyme, antibodies and cell receptors. Another biomolecule we have sugar. In the sugar, the chief component we have carbohydrate. They are abundant organic molecule found in the nature. Initially, they synthesized in the plant from a complex series of reactions involve photosynthesis. The basic unit here is a monosaccharide. Monosaccharide can form larger molecules. The example for that is a glycogen or plant starch or cellulose. The chief functions of sugar are they store energy in the form of starch. Starch is a polysaccharide which is obtained by the photosynthesis in plants and glycogen in case of animal and human being. The sugars provide energy through metabolism pathway and cycle. They supply the carbon for synthesis of other compounds, form the structural component in cell and tissue. Fatty acids. Fatty acids are monocarboxylic acid contain even number of carbon atoms. They are two types like saturated and unsaturated. In that carbon to carbon with a single bond, whereas in case of saturated carbon to carbon with a double bond. Fatty acids are component of several lipid molecules. The example for lipids are triglycerol, steroids, fat soluble vitamins like cholesterol or sex hormone. The function of the fatty acids are they will storage of energy in the form of fat. They will generate the membrane structure of the cell and it will act as a insulator or helps in the synthesis of hormones. There are certain biochemical reactions which will be takes place. These are first one we have metabolism. Metabolism is a biochemical reaction, means it is a total sum of chemical reaction which will be takes place in a living, and second is anabolism. This require energy for biosynthetic pathways. Thirdly, we have catabolism. It means degradation of a fuel molecule and production of the energy for cellular function. In that, the all reactions are catalyzed by enzyme. The primary function of metabolism is the utilization and production of the energy. These are helps in the synthesis of molecule needed for cell structure and its functioning. For those purpose, we have protein, nucleic acid, lipid and aldehyde. These helps to removal of the waste products. Even thousands of reactions sound very large and complex in the tiny cell. The type of reactions are small. The mechanism or biochemical reaction, there is a central importance, means for energy production and synthesis degradation of the major cell component. Certain frequent reactions which are encountered in the biochemical process, these are called nucleophilic substitution, elimination reaction, addition reaction, hydration reaction, isomerization reaction, oxidation reduction. In other words, it is also called redox reduction, then hydrolysis reaction. In the hydrolysis reaction, there will be a cleavage of double bond by water. Energy for cell. In case of living cell is a unstable. The constant flow of energy prevent them from become disorganized. The cells obtain energy mainly by oxidation of the biomolecule. The energy kept by cell they use to maintain highly organized cellular structure and function. The cell maintain the internal environment, means how do a complex structure of cell maintain high internal order. There is certain points in that. First we have synthesis of biomembrane or transport across the membrane. The cell membrane regulates passage of ion and molecule from one compartment to another. Cell movement, that is organized movement of the cell, means the intricate and coordinate activity required to sustain life secure the movement of cell component. Waste removal. The animal cells convert food molecule into carbon dioxide, water and ammonia. If these not disposed properly, they may cause the toxic effects. The speed of reaction. How to speed the reactions up. There are higher of the temperature, means stabilization of macromolecule is limit. Higher concentration of reactant. This method is costly but more valuable. Starting material is needed. Another point, change the reaction by coupling to a fast one universally used by living organisms. Fourthly, we have lower activation barrier by catalysis that is universally used by living organisms. In this figure, we see the enzymatic catalyzation. The series of related enzymatic catalytic reaction shows as we see enzyme 1 convert to 2, then 3, 4 and enzyme 2, 5. This is a metabolic pathway which produces energy or valuable material. This is a signal transduction pathway which will transmit the information. As we see in the anabolism and catabolism, these are the main functions which take place there. In the cell, macromolecules like protein, polysaccharide, lipid, nucleic acid. In case of catabolism or in case of another part, the energy contains nutrients from carbohydrate, fat and protein. As we see in the replication method, the example for that is the DNA replication means as a strand 1 and strand 2, that is further replicate strand 1, strand 2, strand 3 and strand 4. As we see how the supramolecular complex will be formed, in that first DNA code, transcription, then translation, finally to the protein. Mechanism as in we see in that picture as DNA in the presence of messenger RNA first form unfolded, then it lead to form catalytically active part. From the catalytic active part, there will be a generation of energy in the form of ATP and glucose, whereas in the another form that convert into ADP plus glucose 6-phosphate. The hexokinase gene, that is a part of DNA, in the presence of transcription of DNA into complementary RNA, which will form the messenger RNA, further lead to form translation of RNA on ribosome or polypeptide chain. Here we see the RNA word to DNA word, then lead to the protein word. As you see, the creation of prebiotic include nucleotide from component of Earth's primitive atmosphere. It lead to form the production of short RNA molecule with random sequence. Further, the selective replication of self-duplicating catalytic RNA segment. Further, it will be peptides catalyzed by RNA. Here, increase the role of peptide. Then, permeative translation system developed with the RNA generate, that is a protein catalyst. Here are certain points we have to keep in the mind. First, we have to understand what we define the living organism, how the biochemist will isolate the cell structure. After that, we come to know the structure of a cell and the function. Then we go to the organic structure of biomolecule and the functional group or bond to attach with that. Then, what is the principle of bioenergetics and chemical kinetics? Then, we must know the basic of catabolism and anabolism and biochemical reaction. Also review the forces drive evolution and know the difference between the orthologous and paralogous, that is evolution of the protein. Thanks a lot.